Hello people, it's I again. Another little video for you. We're going to go through this. I've got a problem with my recorder at the moment. It keeps crashing on me, so I'm going to look into that, but I'm going to try my best to repeat myself over and over again until it actually works. But here we have a video. Jamie Barnes, who has been on talk shows with Karl Lentz previously in earlier years. He had a good stint of doing it and asking Karl about this, that, and the other, because he got arrested, as people do. When they get arrested, they cry out for help, and Karl is only too happy normally to speak to people about their problems and try and help them as best he can. And Jamie was recorded a few times on talk shows doing it. Now, in this case, he's managed to. I saw the interview of Jamie in the police room, interview room, when they interview you about what they're accusing you of. And then he's also, this has just come to my attention, which I think is a really good example of seeing what happens when you get arrested. What then happens? You get drawn into your booking sergeant or the booking desk, where they actually book you and stick you in a prison cell. Okay, while they then prepare the interview for you. But what this is supposed to be is the booking sergeant is supposed to be like a line of defence for the Crown or the state or the police force, whatever you want to, whoever's liable for this. Because if he's established that the cop's made a bit of a boo-boo, then if he refuses to detain the person, then the liability is strictly and solely on the cop. But once he's accepted and past this barrier and into the cells, then obviously he's absorbed that liability onwards for a lot more than just that officer acting out of character or in character. So I'm really happy to come across this video, and I mentioned Jamie in one of my videos to Karl Lentz that I've published on my website, and I was imitating his voice just to try and remind Karl who I was talking about. It's like a London guy. So obviously, Jamie, I didn't mean to mock you in any way, and I apologise if it came across as mocking you. I'm sure people love to stir that up, but essentially I was just trying to communicate to Karl the person who I was trying to reference to. Now, let's look at this. It's really good. I'm thankful for Jamie for doing it and somehow getting on the internet. It's really interesting because I've never actually seen this exact example of people going to a booking desk. And let's look through it. I've got a few dates on here or times that I'm going to skip through to the good bits, but the first 4 minutes are pretty good. Speed it up a bit. Here we go. So here we go. Cop brings in an arrested stoner who's growing weed at home, having a giggle. I just want you to look at this guy. Okay, this is the booking sergeant. He's got a bowl of cornflakes that he's just eaten. He's got a Twix bar or Mars bar here, and he thinks himself a bit of a comedian.
I've been in since 7. Yeah, double today. Does he need those bad boys on?
No, take them off.
No.
The keys.
Bad boys being the handcuffs, yeah. So now he's saying, does he need those handcuffs on? Which is actually a very valid point, because in England, you're only really supposed to get the silver bracelet treatment if you're at high risk of running away, or you have already tried to resist arrest. There's no reason you can't be civil, especially in this circumstance. There's no reason why you can't be civil about it. And just, if you're asking me to come with you, mate, I'm not going to resist arrest. Be it on your head that you're arresting me, I'm happy to comply. If that's your order, if that's your wish, no problem.
He likes them when they suit him and everything, but I'm sure he will rather have him on. Mate, we have him on every 6 months, and we get dragged around in them more so than you guys do. Oh yes, we do know what they are. We come up and batter the wrist when we go for our...
So he's admitting that handcuffs give people battered wrists. That handcuffs have the capacity to do harm, if that's what battered wrists are all about. So that's an interesting admission.
6 months of training on them.
They're certainly made for comfort.
Yeah, I must get me furry ones out though, just to say we do them nicely as well.
Yeah, he just said furry handcuffs to someone who's just being arrested at a police station.
Have you been arrested? You must have been arrested before, because you're laughing at my crap jokes.
Yeah, I have been, yeah.
Why is he here?
Time of arrest was 16:05.
16:05.
Arrived here at 16:40.
16:40.
Place of arrest was out.
He's still consulting.
Yep.
And we were at a crime scene for a cannabis factory. Jamie's returned, stated it's his address. Due to that, he's been arrested for cultivation of cannabis.
So, cannabis factory. That's interesting.
Okey-dokey.
He's over at 5
Hang on, number.
I'm just going to go make a phone call. Thank you.
And what number?
Yeah, 206 033.
Know why you're here? You know why you're here?
No, not really, because
Basically, because your place is being used as a cannabis factory, you have control of it. You're being arrested because on suspicion of producing cannabis because you have control. You're generally supposed to know what's going on.
Which law are you claiming I've broken?
There's a little pause there. Jamie's right to say, so what have I done wrong? Yeah, that's another way of saying it. What have I done wrong? Right, and Jamie's gone straight for the law angle. What law have I broken? So it's both very valid questions, because obviously he's not broken a law. You can grow what the fuck you like in your own house. It's no one's business, as long as you're not harming anyone. You know, especially if it's a seed that just happens to be on planet Earth before you know, no one's created marijuana. It was here when we arrived. So you know, if you just happen to pick up some plants and grow it in your house, and you know, if that's what makes you happy, that's what makes you happy. So Jamie's right to confront. Say, what law have I broken here, cop? And the cop's just taking a second.
Control.
Yeah.
Which
law are you claiming I've broken?
Producing cannabis, misuse of drugs law.
Misuse of drugs law. So the cop's actually got his own terminology wrong, and Jamie here corrects him.
The Misuse of Drugs Act.
The Misuse of Drugs Act. So even Jamie knows what he's supposed to be saying. The cop's just massively misspoken there, misquoted his own codes.
Yes, man.
Yeah, that's the one.
The Misuse of Drugs Act is a statute. It's not a law. It's an act of Parliament. If under common law, which the UK is, if I claim the right to grow cannabis.
So he's saying in UK law. Now UK is be careful. If you look at my video yesterday about parking tickets, I was going through the UK, the European, and how that document, the V5C, has all kind. You know, it has the DVLA, it has the UK government, and then it has the Department for Transport. And I'm always like, well, what about the Ministry for Transport? Because you still have an MOT on your car. So you know, when you start saying the UK law is the common law, UK law is English common law, the law of the legal society. So don't say UK common law, because you're just confirming the legal society's law. What you're saying is England. I am in England. I am upon the land of England. I am an English man. I don't believe I have any duty or obligation to your statutes. So what law have I broken? Or what wrong have I done?
And my claim of right is unrebutted, which I've got.
I don't know what he's talking about, claim of right. That's a bit odd.
At my mum and dad's address, my claim of right is unrebutted. In the common law, I'm entitled to grow cannabis there. I'm not a person. If you look at the Misuse of Drugs Act...
I wouldn't say entitled. I'm entitled to grow cannabis there. So just I do what I want. If I grow cannabis, I do it because it makes me happy. You know, I do it. Entitled is a word like you're entitled. Someone or something will be entitling you. You're not entitled. It's just an inherent wish that I want to, I wish to grow pot in my house. Big deal.
It's all directed to persons. In the law dictionary, a person is defined as a corporation.
So he's talking about statutes, always mentioning persons, and in the law dictionary or legal dictionary, persons are corporations. That's not true, guys. People need to get the person out there. They need to get this right. If I said to you, a rabbi, right, or a priest, or a chief of the village, or a village elder, speak to that elder, right? Persons have been around. King, for Christ's sake, right? There's all the Christ, for Christ's sake. These are all persons, okay? So when someone says, "Oh, persons," if you look in the legal dictionary, they're corporations. Yeah, there may be persons of a corporate nature, but there's also persons of a natural nature. So you've got a neighbour is exactly a neighbour. So McDonald's is my neighbour. No, a neighbour is a flesh and blood neighbour. Look after your neighbours. Yeah, and in terms of your mother and your father, that's mother. I don't know your mother's name, but mother is a person. Okay, it's the person belonging to your mother. And Jamie, what's your mother's name? Oh, Vicky. Oh, so Vicky's your mother, is she? So the person who's your mother is Vicky. Okay, have we all got this straight? Persons are not just corporations. Persons are everywhere. Persons, in many respects, predate a lot of these corporations, and they're not something to be scared of, or not something to be, running. Oh, I'm not a person. Oh, a person is some bullshit going on. A person is a fantastic thing. Brother, son, sister, all these things that are not defined with the name of the who's acting as the person, is all good. But in terms of the person that Jamie's talking about in the statute book, they're looking for the person of their society. That's the person they're after. So you've got the wrong person, mate. You got the wrong person.
I'm not a corporation. Common law applies to living souls. The UK is a common law jurisdiction.
So he's like, excuse me, pointing at the screen. I'll get my mouse to do that. So this guy's looking across to another guy who's probably over here, and they're like, what's this guy on about? So he's looking at this guy's looking back at him, and he says, well, that's something you're going to have to take up with the court then. But if you've arrested me for a crime that I'm not liable for, or I have no duty to uphold, because it's a law on your computer, and you guys are enforcing laws for your society, but obviously I'm not part of your society, therefore it's a rule. It's just a rule to me, and the rules don't apply to people who aren't part of that club. So think about like a football team, or like a football player. So if a football player pisses off his club, the club can deduct him a week's wages because it'll be somewhere in his contract, presumably, because he's bound himself to the terms of that contract. Or if you're really outrageous and you offend the whole governing industry of the football club, like the whole football society, then they might ban you. They might give you like an international ban for being like a drugs cheat or something like that. So that's where they can immerse you. This is called immerse. So they're not looking to give you a fine or an imprisonment. What they're trying to do is immerse you in their society, and they're going to look at their immerse book, and I've covered this as well in my parking ticket video. So have a look at that. It's all about immersements and people within the societies where the Lord's word, their Lord, their King, their lieges, their master's word is law. So in a football arena, whoever runs the FA or the American Football League, NFL, National Football League, whoever's the top don of that makes, it's pretty much his word is law within their society. Okay, so the common law affects everyone, but once you start latching yourself onto societies, you then accept their rule books. So like you go down the swimming club. Now you think joining a swimming club, a gym membership or a swimming club membership, there's no laws here, but there'll always be laws. You've got to take your shoes off before you go to the changing rooms. You've got no running around the pool because you might slip over. Now you're welcome to run, and you might fall over, but if you're not obeying their own guidelines and rules to keep you safe, then by all means run and make yourself and injure yourself, but who's to blame? Yeah, it's yourself, isn't it, really? So these are what immersements are. So once you're in a club, in a society, then they're going to immerse the crap out of you for breaching their codes and violating their rules. Because when you're in their club, their rules are laws, as far as you're concerned. But Jamie's trying to make this point, but in a weird way. And these guys have never heard of this before, and therefore this is why these guys are talking across the desk at each other. And he's pointing now at a solicitor. And let's see what he says.
Yeah, but listen, before...
So even the solicitor, he's saying, scratching his head. Because the solicitor is the only person here who is an authorised member of the legal society. So he's the only legal person in that building. Even though these people are acting on behalf of the legal society, they are still not members of the legal society. They're just like their agents, if you want, like workers. So they're just following what they've been programmed to do. But they still have to conduct themselves in a lawful manner, as well as obeying the legal rules of their positions.
Before all that, on my claim of right as well, I've also got a fee schedule that says that if I'm ever arrested, handcuffed, transported, or have anything to do with views which ain't a lawful matter, which this ain't a lawful matter.
Right, he's right to put out these terms, is Jamie. He's done a good job here. He's talking about fee schedules, which is what Karl Lentz has always said. Thank God you Freeman learnt about fee schedules. So he's put out a fee schedule, and he's giving him notice. Presumably he's done it in writing already, and now he's speaking to the guy man to man. Like, if you arrest me and it's not a lawful matter, these are my fees. Yeah, and that's an interesting point Jamie's done. So it's good to viva voce, like speak back what is actually terms of arrest if you incorrectly arrest me or improperly arrest me for a matter of a non-societal member. This is going to cost you, I'm afraid.
Because it's a statute. It's not a law. My fee schedule's £500,000 an hour. You've already had me for what? How many hours? 2 hours? And I've been handcuffed and transported.
Okay. Well, all I can say, it won't be coming out of my pocket.
No, yeah, but it will be coming out of someone's, yeah.
That is yet to be determined, okay? From what the officer said, I'm going to authorise your detention here so we can investigate this matter.
Bing! There's the contract. You probably missed that. Jamie's saying these are my fee schedules. And the guy, the police officer at the desk says, well, it ain't coming out of my wallet. And the James says, well, it's going to come out of someone's wallet. And then he goes, that's yet to be determined. Damn straight. because, and then he says, I am going to authorise it. And then he says, I am going to authorise it so that he can investigate it. So he's basically just done a contract. That's a verbal contract right there. I'm very expensive. Well, I'm not paying for it. Well, someone's going to pay for it. Well, I'm just authorising your detention. So he's just basically said, I'm not doing it in one sentence, or one answer, and in the next answer he says, I'm happy to authorise it. So therefore you've made yourself liable by your actions. So this guy has now accepted the liability of, well, I think anything up to that point would be his liability, and anything after that after that point would be his liability.
But it's got to be noted that I'm here under duress and protest.
Okay, it's all on CCTV, as you're probably well aware.
Yeah, fantastic. It's on CCTV, Jamie, because this is dynamite. I mean, I don't know how I wish you realised what you're seeing in front of you as it unfolds, because this you just made a contract with a cop and he's just authorised it.
That is that.
Yes.
See, why are you looking so sad? You've just made £2 million. Yeah, about that. Handcuffed, transported, and 2 hours. Yes, that's 2 million.
Hey, fun, you know.
He's having fun at someone else's expense. The cops just said that. You're having fun. And what does fun mean? Foolishness. You're being foolish, cop. Can't deny that. So, Jamie, well done. £2 million in a bag. Let's cha-ching on.
I was like, whoa, I just walked up to him. I said, that's my flat up there. That's my bride.
That's above my pay grade.
That's above my pay grade.
It's above mine as well.
It's above mine as well. It's above your pay grade. But this is where I want to tell you about sole traders versus limited companies, yeah? What's the difference? Sole trader, self-employed, have unlimited liability, yeah? They have limited funds because they have to work for it, but they have unlimited liability for the debts they create. These guys have just created £1 million debt between them, and a limited company is only liable for the money that's put into that company in order to create it, so you can't chase the individuals more than what the company owes. So, well, owns and owes. It's kind of linked. So, yeah, we are all unlimited in our capacity as man to contract with our fellow man. This guy in particular has just agreed to detain him further based on the fee schedule that Jamie A has, I hope, served notice to the cops in writing, and B just repeated viva voce in front of this cop, and he's like, well, that's yet to be determined, but fuck it, I'm gonna authorise your detention anyway. Well, hey, well, be it on your head. The cop just said, can I please get the property book? Do you know why he needs the property book? Because he needs to book in the property of the man that he's arrested here. Hence it's called the property book. I hadn't noticed that before, but I just noticed this guy say that right now. So that's a new thing. Every time you listen back to something, you'll pick up a new word. Listen 10 times.
Right, yeah.
He's got to do some typing now, so we're going to skip ahead to the next bit, which is 3 minutes 56. No, sorry, yeah, 3 minutes 56. All right, okay, it wasn't that far away. 3 minutes 56. Oh, this is just about being searched. So here's the property book I just talked about. So we're going to note down all the property that you had in our book. It's probably going to get logged on here as well. And now they're going to search you. Now this Jamie hasn't at one point said, is that your wish? Is that your order? Because also my fee schedule is like my basic rate. But if you wish me to perform anything that you order of me, then that's obviously in addition to the fee schedule. So Jamie's missing out on a trick here. Is that you want to search me? Oh, so you want to search me, or you're ordering? Is that part of your duty? Is that part of your job? Are you being ordered to do this? Because this is what Carl's been over this a million times. I don't have to repeat it, but fucking just say, is that an order? Or you can say everything you do now is going to be I am going to do it's going to be in the form of an order, because there's no involuntary servitude, as they say in America. You can't make me do something against my wishes. So I don't want to have a hard day with you, cop, but bear in mind that anything you ask of me is an order. And this is why, as you'll see, Jamie refuses to sign, he refuses to do certain things, like whatever. Let's say you refuse to put your things in the bag. Say, are you ordering me to put my property in this bag? Yes, I'm ordering you to put your property in the bag. Fantastic. And this here, you're ordering me to sign? Yeah, I'm ordering you to sign. And you're ordering me to give you my date of birth? Yeah, well, I've been told it's this. So all these things, instead of resisting, this is what Carl's trying to say. Don't be a Gandhi pacifist resistance. Be a Karl Lentz. Passively assist. Say, yes, I'm here to help. I'm going to make a shit ton of money out of these orders, which are like additions, these are like extras, plus the basic fee schedule rate that he's already agreed with these two officers. Jamie's in the money.
Tell anybody else. Let's get it out of the way while I do some typing. If he's got a belt, take the belt off.
Yeah, so now it's just saying, have you ever, all the he's taking property from now. We're going to go to 625.
The offence wording is that you produced a controlled drug of Class B in contravention of Section 4.1 of the Misuse of Drugs Act 1971. I
love the way the cop reads that out. The offence is a controlled substance B, Misuse of Drugs Act, Section 4961, Now, when you hear this shit, you know immediately, are you sure that relates to me, officer? Because I've never heard of such nonsense in my life. And if I was liable for that, surely I would have been trained or educated or, given some sort of, formal kind of, teaching in what the hell you're talking about. Because you just sounded like a robot then, buddy. And I'm not a robot. And you say that again for me. Just say it out loud again for me, cop, so that I can hear what you just said.
The offence wording is that you produced a controlled drug of Class B in contravention of Section 4.1 of the Misuse of Drugs Act 1971. That is...
In contraventione. I'm sorry, are you speaking Latin to me? What do you mean in contraventione? Am I in Italy? Have I gone to Italy suddenly? Because I thought I was in England a minute ago. What's going on here?
The offence you've been arrested for.
Offence. Again, if I go to my Immerse video yesterday for parking fines. Immerse are societal punishments. You'll have to be part of that society, that club. You have to have a ruler, lord, an arcala, whatever, head scout, in order to be punishable by an immerse. An immerse kind of bypasses the court of record process. That you have, there's no fines or imprisonments, and any such jurisdiction that is erected that can impose fines or imprisonments immediately becomes a court of record. Okay, so how do they do that? They get you to join their little immersing club, where they immerse, which is A being no mercy, and then meant, that pertaining to not having any mercy because you've done something wrong. In our little book that's on the screen here, he doesn't know it, he just had to read it off. He's just been doing what he's told. So he's reading off this code. He thinks that this guy knows this. I mean, this guy doesn't even know the code. So how the hell does this guy even know the code? So it's such a hilarious thing where he reads a thing on there and it gets in his brain, scrambles his mind. No wonder he's making such crap jokes, and now he's just doing his job and thinks he's doing a good job at that. But yeah, so this is an immersement, a fine within a society because you've done a wrongdoing. Hence, it's an offence. It's offence. Very specific wording. It's not a crime. Is it an offence or is it a crime? It's an offence within their society. So I would have said, is this a crime or an offence? Because they've switched it up. To murder someone is a crime, but you're saying it's now an offence. Yeah, interesting. So I'm sitting on an offence, am I?
Yeah, but I've got to tell you that gross negligence is the equivalent of fraud.
So why is he gross negligence? I wouldn't have skip the gross negligence, because gross negligence is a French, Norman kind of phraseology. It's bastardised French to fit in some sort of legal book, no doubt. So that just say fraud. Are you trying to defraud me? I asked you, am I broken a law? And now you're saying it's the offence. Now you're talking about some sort of statute act. Have I broken a law? Why are you detaining me? You do realise time is money, and I've given you my fee schedule. I mean, if you wish to go ahead and act unlawfully towards me, then do as you wish, officer. But or James, Dave, whatever your bloody name is. That's essentially what's happening here. So he's going to go ahead, thinking he's right. He's going to go ahead and do it anyway. So don't, arguing. It's a bit late in the matter now. I'll just go along with it and just rack up the money.
So, gross negligence, you know what that is? You're claiming that that's a law when it's not.
It's an offence. It's an offence to grow cannabis.
Who am I offending?
That is the best question ever. Well done, Jamie. Who am I offending?
You're just not allowed to do it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
always relate things back to the who. Okay, who am I offending? Fantastic question. The cop completely fucked up. That almost fried his brain. He had to ignore it.
Well, when it's not.
It's an offence. It's an offence to grow cannabis.
Who am I offending?
Well, you're just not allowed to do it. It doesn't matter.
It's just totally changed his argument. You're just not allowed to do it. Yeah, you're not allowed to do it. I'm allowed to do it.
Victimless crime.
In a court
It's
of
a
law,
victimless
exactly.
crime. A victimless crime is still a crime.
So if
it's illegal to grow the drugs.
But it's not unlawful.
Perfect answer again. Bing! How do you get like a star noise? Give yourself a badge. It's illegal. Everything I do is illegal. This is what Karl mentioned about that book. Some guy wrote a book saying everything I do is illegal, which is great. So what? It's just a society that operates within our country. It's one society of many. And it just happens to be the society that likes to take on the responsibility of arresting people and putting them in prison. And as James just said, it is illegal. Well, it's all right. It might be illegal, but it's not unlawful.
No, it's illegal.
Yeah, but it's not unlawful. Legal and illegal are irrelevant in a court of law.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. You take it up with the court of law. I'm the customs. I'm just doing the beginning.
Sorry.
I'm just doing what I'm doing. I have no idea what my liability is. I'm going to be ignorant of the law. I am giving you money here, Jamie. Let me give you more money.
I'm not.
I just want it to be made aware of my position.
Again, like you said, above my pay grade.
It's above my pay grade, not above your liability grade, not above your debt grade.
Today.
All right, next thing.
It is. Right. I can see that being the right big problem.
The Brucey bonus clip. This is the Brucey bonus clip. See if you can notice it. I'll come back to it at the end if I remember.
It is. Right. I can see that being the right big problem. You don't know, you might get yourself written in it. It would have come up by now, and it hasn't never come up.
I know.
Jimmy, come back across him,
Yeah.
Just, I've got to do some timing because you
no
distracted me, man.
You get your IMEI number.
I don't know how you do
I'll
it.
tell you who you did. There's a lock, this is your star hash, 06 hash.
Outside.
All right, we're going to go up to. It's a load of nonsense now, apparently. So we're going up to 9:48. I mean, listen to this yourself and just dissect it. You've got to really be good with the words. Listen carefully to all the phrases and speech that's going on.
What's your surname, fella?
I haven't got a surname. I've got a family name.
Again, that is. I agree with that answer.
Okay, what's your family name then?
Barnes.
Is that are you ordering me to tell you my name, or you would have already established the fact that everything you're asking me is in terms of is in the way of an order, because you have me here against my will. I'm not happy to I'm not happy to be here, but obviously I wish to comply with your orders.
Barnes.
Yeah, B-A-R-N-E-S.
And your first name?
So that's another order. Your first name, your surname. That's 2 orders there. How much is it? Champagne and caviar. Now let's order some smoked salmon.
Jamie.
Any middle names, Jamie?
John.
J-O-H-N?
Yeah.
You want to confirm? You're ordering me to confirm the spelling? Oh, that's I don't know. What else we got? Some fucking Stilton cheese.
And your date of birth?
Date of birth.
I remember that far back.
Jamie's completely accurate answer there. Look, I can't speculate on what my date of birth is, mate. And also he's saying birth. He says, well, I know I was born. I don't know what birth is.
When's your birthday?
So I wasn't birthed. I was born of my mother. That's what you could say.
I celebrate it every day.
I like Jamie. That's good. You see, you've got to be cocky. And he sounds like he's being cocky, but it's good. He's being witty. He's thinking on his feet. When's your birthday? I celebrate it every day. That's good.
What times were they? What names? How tall are you?
5'8".
See all this stuff. I've been... Yeah, whatever.
Rush brain.
Are you working?
No.
And then the last bit I just want to look at in this video is 1635. So let's go up to 1635. That's the last thing of interest that I noticed when I was looking through this.
Rights. You can inform someone that you... Right, whilst you're here, you've got 3 rights.
Whilst you're here, you have 3 rights. So remember your memorandum rights. Like you have the right to remain silent, you have the right to an attorney, and some other bullshit right to a phone call. There you are. So they're the 3 rights that they give you. And Jamie's very good here to pick up this point.
You can inform someone that you've been detained here at this police station. You can also consult privately with an independent solicitor and independent legal advice is available.
See, the way that this guy's speaking, the guy, I'm talking about this guy, he's just rattling it off like he's done 100 of these in a day. He couldn't give a fuck. He's just doing what he's told, sitting in his position, no fucks given. and it's going to cost him.
Duty solicitor free of charge. You've got our rule book, code of practice, companies, powers and procedures. You can do those 3 things anytime whilst you're here at the police station. Do you want a solicitor?
Of all my human rights.
That's a question that he just said. Do you want a solicitor? Do you want it? Do you want to be in our club? Because we're going to give you a crash course membership by do you want a solicitor? Because as soon as you accept that solicitor, suddenly he's acting on your behalf in their immersement world.
You can do those 3 things anytime whilst you're here at the police station. Do you want a solicitor?
Have all my human rights been revoked then?
No, all your human rights haven't been revoked. They've
you
been
just told me
some of them have been suspended for the time being whilst
you
you're
just
here in
told me
detention.
I only have 3 rights.
You have 3 rights whilst you're in this police station.
Right, so, but all my...
Okay, we can go about semantics.
Now the cop here is mentioning semantics. This is brilliant. This wasn't semantics. This was not semantics. The cop says you have 3 rights, and Jamie's asking, "Do I still have my human rights?" He goes, "Yeah, you still got your human rights, but you know, there isn't a semantics. It's not a potato. It's not a tomato. All right, it's semantics. This is a misuse of his terms semantics at all by this cop. But it's interesting that the cop he's almost breaking character and getting angry, or he's trained to do misdirection, deviation, in terms of getting Jamie to stop being a fucking wise guy and help him do his job easier, and just shut up and take it.
It's all day long. Either you want to exercise one of those
Listen,
3 rights.
No, you listen to me.
No.
I'm not here to cause any controversy. You come to my flat, kicked my door off, damaged my property, took my stuff, and I claim the right to do so.
Okay, like I said...
You've stolen off me.
Okay.
Yes, be under illusion.
That is something you're going to have to take up.
Just don't talk to me in that tone of voice. I'm not talking to you like it.
Yeah, it's totally right. You see, they flip it around. But Jamie's right to catch on to this guy, because what you see, if someone's a pro in terms of misdirection and stuff, they'll keep saying, "Stop shouting, stop using that language, Jamie, stop talking at me rudely, Jamie. Jamie, calm down, stop getting violent, stop getting angry, stop getting aggressive." And then you're there on the back foot immediately going, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So if anyone goes off on that, the best thing to do is just shut up. Just shut up. Let them talk to themselves about nonsense. And then when they finish their little rant, bring it back to where you were. Never get deviated from the point before they lost their temper. Be very careful, very mindful of this deviation and misdirection, and changing the tone of your voice, because you can see Jamie immediately had a reaction there. He reacted perfectly, but he raised his voice as well, which you're going to do because it's you're in a police station getting screwed. But he was right. He did. Thankfully, he kept it, even though he raised his voice, he kept his point very clear that he's not going to be spoken to in that manner, and that's a good rebuttal to what the cop was doing there.
A simple question.
Yeah, and I've answered you. Have all of my human rights been revoked?
No, I said no.
Right, you told me I only have 3 rights, though.
Are you trying to defraud me of my rights there, Mr. Officer?
2 rights whilst you're here in custody.
Right, so now you're claiming they're extra rights.
Well, you've been through the process before.
Yeah.
See, the cop hasn't got a fucking clue what he's doing.
Why are you being awkward?
I'm not being awkward.
Why are you being awkward? Why are you giving me contradictory information? You're supposed to be acting in Her Majesty's service for the benefit and protection of the people, and you don't even know the words that are coming out of your mouth, sir. Not sir, don't say sir, but Bob. This is a really good little exchange that they're having here.
I'm just trying to make it clear what the jurisdiction is here. If I'm in a common law jurisdiction, what common law have I broken?
Okay. All right, Colin. Right, do you want a solicitor?
If I'm in a common law jurisdiction, which common law have I broken?
Do you want a solicitor?
No, I don't need one. I've not broken any law.
Don't need one. Okay.
Just answer this question.
Right.
You can discuss this later, mate. All right? You're quoting
No, that's true.
Would you like to inform someone you've been detained here at the police station?
No.
Would you like to inform someone? Would you like to? I require of you to let my next of kin know. Everything is a play on words when you're dealing with these people. They turn everything around to benefit their society and their way of doing things.
And I take it you don't want to sign?
No.
I would love to sign. Dave, I will sign anything you put in front of me. You just order me to sign it.
I don't know. Mr. Thomas. All right.
And I think...
You've got the
What have we got property right-wise? Let's go straight back into common law. Fucking hell, this is the joke. You see what I mean? They're acting like in and out. You can see they're all over the place, the cops. Or let's look at the property book. What property are we booking in here? Because property is obviously inherent to the man. This is the man's property. What they should have done is dragged all his weed bags and stuffed all his weed bags in these bags, and so when they've arrested and done his time with him, they give him straight back to him. So sorry, we seem to have a lot more of your property here. This property, okay. Green natural property, no good. It's a joke, man. Alright, but anyway, I think that's all the notes that I put down on here. I don't think there's any more. But that's quite an interesting tirade that he had there at the end with the officer. But the most important thing, let's go back to 748. I almost missed it then as well. Just that, little confrontation. But this is a really good bit.
Jimmy, come back to proceed.
Yeah.
Listen very carefully. In the background, the guy on the far right of the desk here, here's the guy who you've got to listen to now. Listen, it's amazing.
I've got to do some typing because you
no
distracted me, man.
Can you get your IMEI number?
I don't know how you do
I'll
it.
tell you who you did. There's a lock between your star hash, 06 hash.
Where is it? Outside.
Oh, it might have been before this. Hang on.
Right. See that?
Oh, here we are. Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
I'm not.
I just want it to be made aware of my position.
So he steps back from the desk and he's hanging. Look, the cop's holding his hands up. He's like, I don't know what's going on, mate. I'm just doing my job.
Again, like he said, above my pay grade.
Above my pay grade, below my liability. No, not above my liability grade. And then listen really carefully. Turn the volume max. I'll shut up.
It is. Right. I can see that being the right big problem.
That's interesting because if he was right, I can see that being a right big problem. Amazing words from a cop to the right of him.
No, you might get himself written in. It would have come up by now, and it hasn't never come up.
No.
I thought it would have come up by now, and it's never come up by now. That's literally how crazy this shit is. People have been unaware of their rights in this country for far too long. Okay, and it's unfortunately when that's happened, when you hand over your ability to wipe your own arse to the government, then this is what happens. You become a bunch of. I'm not talking about Jamie here. I'm just talking about if Jamie is the first person who got arrested and got off his arse to actually confront the booking officer about these charges in this area, obviously in this particular police station, and the guy to the right of him is kind of something scratching in his head. All right, he doesn't know, but he obviously something is clicking inside his head about the difference between laws, breaches of the peace, because cops only know breach of peace. And I'd suggest you read a bit more about breach of peace because it's so simple, and cops know about breach of pieces, breach of the peaches, and all this shit that they're doing here is coming from central government statute books. So this is probably what's scratching in the cop to the booking cop on this side, the right side, who's saying this, is probably something's itching in his head. Like, you know what? Maybe this guy's got a point. I've never heard this crazy bullshit before, but something in the back of my head, something inside me. The law that is inside all of us kind of ringing true, and that's where the law resides. Don't look in any law book for that feeling. The cop on the right, who's probably a more dutiful cop, probably has a bit more insight into actually what's going on here. Is now kind of taking it seriously. Now, bear in mind, this guy's done a double shift, so he's pretty much been working for 12 hours, so he's burnt out and he's turned into a zombie. Whereas this guy might be fresh on his shift and he's doing all right. And maybe just being calm, not being involved with the confrontation with Jamie, that he's like, hang on a minute. If that turns out to be true, I can see that being a right big problem. And it is a right big problem. Jamie, what do you need to do, Jamie? Well, it involves county court. It involves a claim of debt. First of all, you need to invoice. Because you spoke to them about your terms. You had proof that you had your fee schedule already in their offices and however you served it upon them. Okay, and then you invoiced them as well because you were here, you gave them your terms, and I sure as hell doubt that there's a lawful matter before any court that you were taken to. So Jamie, it's up to you. If you know what to do, it's a simple debt collection from a county court. Invoice these guys first. Give them some sort of terms to pay, 28 days to pay the bill or to set up a payment arrangement like any debt collection bastard would do to you. Just do to them. Hi, Dave and Phil. You remember this day? Look, I've got it recorded on your own cameras to remind you. But I gave you my fee schedule and I gave you my terms. Now, as far as I'm aware, there was no lawful matter before court or before you. You're following some sort of statute code thing that I don't believe I'm obliged to follow, and I'm certainly not due any immersements from you in order to just be like at home growing shit that makes me happy to do so. You know, I'm an indoor gardener, big deal. And there we are. So once you've invoiced them and they've got 28 days to reply to your invoice and set up some sort of method of paying, then obviously if they don't take you seriously, you have to serve it upon them. And once you've served it upon them, and you've got proof that they have been served those documents, and by all means, you then, if they're not playing ball with you, you then collect a debt like any other debt on the planet. Okay, you go to county court. You put in the paperwork to collect a debt. You bring the evidence and the facts. This video would be part of that. And you just make a claim. But if you want to do that, Jamie, by all means, crack on. And there's a lot of other fun angles you can come at this by. But if these people don't learn their lesson, this is what has to happen, I'm afraid. And again, I covered this in my parking ticket video, is that if the people that are acting in these roles do not learn their lesson, it's kind of the wrong way of going about it, because you'd think change the head of the organisation would change all the problems below it, but the head is operating because all the people below him are scurrying around doing his bidding. So when the people below realise that if they do this shit and they get they get £1 million bill each, which they have to work off for the rest of their lives, and then sons and daughters have to work off for the rest of their lives. And it goes on forever, because it's unlimited liability. It does pass through the deaths. Debts don't cease when you die, especially a debt between a man and a man. You're entitled to take it out of all of his, probate, and you're entitled to pass it on to the next of kin as it goes through. Debt's a serious thing. And obviously you can forgive people of their debts, which is a very noble and Christian thing to do. But make sure that they've learnt their lesson first. And Jamie, I hope that helps you. If anyone knows Jamie, pass this on to him, and maybe he can take it to the next stage of all of this. But it's basically, you've done your contract with these guys, collect their debts at the county court, man. Make sure it's county court, and serve them first. Of course, you have to give them every opportunity to pay, because court is essentially the last point of call, where they've ended or said no, we're not going to pay. If they send you a letter back saying no, not paying, bullshit, Jamie, get off, sort it out. Once they've written back to you with that no, once they've said no, you run down the county courthouse and you file your claim, show the court that they've said no, show the court your evidence that the debt exists, and then let's see how far you get with that one, Jamie. You've got to hold court. It's up to you then, Jamie, to hold court and get it sorted yourself, so fingers crossed.